When you think of a brand, what's the first thing that comes to mind? We all think visually. If I say, don't think of an elephant in the room, instantly your mind thinks of an elephant in the room. So the same is true with logos, brands, identifiers. So the idea of your logo and brand should be top of mind awareness for your prospects. Here are just a few. So a logo is not a brand. Can anyone tell me what a brand represents or what a brand is, other than the marketing or the ad guy? Anybody? No? Anyone take no guess?
An identity, your company's identity.
It's a visual identifier, that's right. But it's also an emotional response. So if you think of, if you think of one of these companies, for instance, I'm not a Starbucks fan. I think it's too acidic, it bothers my stomach, it's overpriced. But people that love Starbucks will have a different opinion and different emotional response to it when they see that logo or think of Starbucks. And the same is true. Does anyone think of Harley-Davidson as being a two-wheeled vehicle manufacturer? No, they're selling a lifestyle. They're selling the bad boy image. You can put on your leathers, you can look like a hard ass, even if you're a dentist, right? They're selling a brand identity, a lifestyle. Nike, you don't have to be an athlete to wear Nike, but you might associate yourself as being athletically inclined if you like the product. Here's an evolution of Apple. I'm a diehard Apple fan. I've never owned a PC. Probably shouldn't admit that. So I have an emotional response to Apple as being the best product there is in its market. Their market share is the highest, and they're the number 2 valued brand in the world this year, or in 2012. Their stocks have done pretty well too. I remember when they were $11. I think they've been up to about $700. So this is just speaking of the brand value, not the corporate value or
what is the brand value?
Their brand value. It'll be in a couple slides.
No, what it is, the term itself, the brand.
The definition is taken from Interbrand. I didn't rehearse their exact definition of it, but it is what the market is willing to pay for their brand. And Apple is valued at 76 million, and 76.5 million. I'll show a slide that shows a breakdown of comparison.
You mean, let's say if somebody wants to sell product under their brand, they would pay this?
Not for brand licensing, but if someone was to purchase
completely?
Just the brand.
So
not product,
right,
or people, or
$78 million?
yes.
And so then nobody else could
They would have rights to that, to the use of that brand.
too little, 78
Yeah, I'll show you.
million.
This is according to Interbrand.
Billion.
I just gave it away, but I was going to ask what you thought the #1 brand in the world is. Coca-Cola. 130. They've had 135 years to develop that brand, so that's part of it. But if you think of their product, what do they really sell? I mean, they're selling sugar water, right? So amazing that their brand is valued that highly. What happens if your competition changes your value? You guys familiar with SodaStream?
Yeah.
You can make soda in your home. Whether they significantly cut into the market of Coca-Cola, I don't know, but could happen. If people start seeing things like this was in New York City, one family, 5 years, those are all Coca-Cola bottled products that the family consumed in 1 year. So, it's a game changer if more people believe in it. And why is Pepsi rated 22 on the list? Coca-Cola's closest competitor. In blind taste tests studies over the years, if you're blind taste testing these two products, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, there's a significant amount of people that will choose a Pepsi. But if you put a Pepsi and a Coke in front of them, it's the opposite. This is a logo I designed for a local manufacturer. They create jukeboxes, and they're the Wurlitzer style with the bubble tubes and the lights, the nostalgia style from the 20s. And it was kind of like a personal challenge with my client about designing. I was doing illustrations for him, advertising, marketing pieces, and he said, "You can't design a logo for us, can you?" Of course I can. And ended up winning some awards. They're in Torrance. They became very prevalent in the marketing jukebox market, manufacturing market, and they decided to purchase Rockola. Rockola has the world recognition. In Mexico, it's synonymous with jukebox. Instead of saying put a quarter in the jukebox, they say put a quarter in the Rockola. It's kind of like Kleenex tissue. So they wanted that world recognition. No one worldwide heard of Antique Apparatus, a little company in Torrance. So they wanted to purchase the rights to that brand. They spent $400,000 for the rights to use part of the brand. So what that purchase was not physical products, but the use of that brand identity. And it was only for the jukebox line. The company continued to use and keep the brand recognition for the other vending services and the vending side of the company that they kept. So $400,000 for just partial use of a brand. Did they get a return on that? That slide's coming up. Used to be Federal Express, shortened to FedEx, and then, they dropped the tagline. And that's happened to many companies where they can shorten the name. Does anyone notice, I know you marketing people already know this, but there's something built into the logo in the negative space. Do you notice that?
The arrow?
The arrow pointing, right? So now every time you see that logo, you'll think of that negative space. PortTech has a nice logo where they've incorporated the waves into the logo. I think that's a very sharp, well-designed logo.
Thank you.
You like it? Very nice. Nike, same with Nike. They dropped the name. The swoosh says it all. In 1971, I don't know if you can read that, the founder paid $35 for the logo, paying someone $2 an hour, a student at an art college. And there's this quote. You can all read it, right? Quote from him. Not sure if he's crazy about it, but I'll go with it. So it doesn't matter how much you pay for the brand. Rockola, $400,000, $35. It's how you are successful at promoting it. Let's answer some of the value questions that you had from Interbrand. So you can see the dollar amount. The plus sign or the minus sign is how much that value of the stock or the value of the brand has changed. So you can see Apple is up 129% versus some of their competitors, which with very small growth. This is just in the course of 2012. So these brands move around. I've been watching them over 10 years or 15 years, and they change positions over the years, but Apple's always up there at the top 5. You guys mentioned BP. They paid $211 million for that logo. Incredible, right? $211 million for a logo design. Now, of course, that's not just the logo. That's for the brand identity, entire brand identity.
Paid to whom?
Excuse me?
To whom they paid?
The person that created the brand, the design firm.
I just need a better clientele.
Same with me. I didn't charge anywhere near that for the antique apparatus or the Rockola.
See,
So
what deal you got at PortTech?
Why would someone pay that, right?
What's so hard to make this multi-star?
Someone did a great pitch, didn't they? Marketing pitch. Sell them. The first trademark logo in the world. I did record the date. So that gives you some idea. The value of the brand over time. Think about Rockola. they spent $400,000 for the partial use of that brand. They have since sold partial use of their partial use for more than that to the competitor. They took over the commercial side of the jukebox line, and Rockola, the company that I worked with in Torrance, continue to use it for their nostalgia line. So they separated the nostalgia line and the commercial line, and sold again the use of that for more than they paid. So over the 20 years or so that I've worked with them, the value of their brand has gone up significantly. For them to be able to sell it for more than they paid for a partial